Hello everyone, my name is Karen and it's great to be with you again today. And as always, I thought we'd begin with something together, some activity, and I like a quiz, but I like to tell jokes too, and I was trying to think which one would I like to do today? Quiz or jokes? Jokes or a quiz? And I decided on, drumroll please if you would like to, that today we would have some jokes. Here goes. I hope you're ready. There are 3 of them and they're all fish related. You'll realise why maybe later. Here's the first one. How does a shark greet a fish? It's nice to eat you. Nice to eat you. Isn't that great? What is the most famous fish? A starfish, of course. Well done if you guessed that. And finally, my last joke of today. I know you'll be sad. I think which part of a fish weighs the most? Which part of a fish weighs the most? The scales. Were they great jokes? Or maybe you don't think so. If you think you can do better, then let me know. I'm sure staff in school can find a way to send your jokes to me. But I imagine you're ready for something else now. Today, we're going to carry on thinking about the Easter story. And this is part of the Easter story after Jesus came back to life and appeared to some of his disciples, some of his friends. If you make yourselves comfortable, then I'll begin. One day after Jesus had come back from the dead, some of his disciples, his followers, Peter, Thomas, Nathanael, James and John, the sons of Zebedee, and some other followers decided to go fishing on Lake Galilee. They stayed out all night but did not catch any fish. Early the next morning, they saw someone standing on the shore. It was Jesus, but they didn't recognize him. Jesus called out to them, "Young men, have you caught any fish?" "Not a thing," they answered sadly. Jesus said to them, "Throw your net on the right side of the boat and you will catch some fish." They did as Jesus told them and caught so many fish they could not pull the net back into the boat. John, the disciple, realized who the man on the beach was. "It is the Lord," he said with excitement. When Peter heard this, he immediately put his coat on and jumped into the water. He was so happy to Jesus and he couldn't wait for the boat to get to the shore, so he swam ashore. He wanted to go and meet him. The rest of the disciples came ashore, dragging the net with them. They were not far from the beach. Jesus was waiting for them. There was a fire with fish cooking on it and some bread. He said, "Bring some of the fish that you caught." Peter quickly went and dragged the net up on the shore. It was full of great big fish, 153 of them. But the net had not broken. Jesus asked them to come and eat. None of the disciples said, "Who are you?" They knew it was the Lord. Now, you might remember that when Jesus had been arrested, before his death and coming back to life, Peter had denied knowing Jesus, said he didn't know him, and he'd said this 3 times. It wasn't something Peter felt good about. After eating, Jesus asked Peter, "Do you love me more than these others?" "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you," Peter replied. "Take care of my lambs," said Jesus, which meant look after my followers. A second time, Jesus asked Peter, "Do you love me?" "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you," Peter answered. "Take care of my lambs," Jesus said again. A third time, Jesus asked Peter, "Do you love me?" Now Peter was sad and replied, "Yes, Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you." "Take care of my lambs," said Jesus once more. Then Jesus told Peter some things so he could understand that continuing to follow Jesus was not going to be an easy thing for Peter. Peter turned around and saw John and said to Jesus, "What about him?" Jesus answered to Peter something along the lines of, "We're not talking about him, we're talking about you, Peter. Just follow me." What an amazing breakfast. But it also says in the Bible that there were so many other things that Jesus did. There isn't enough room in the whole world to hold all the books it would take to write those things in. This is one of my favourite stories about Jesus. I like that he wanted to spend time with his friends and share food with them. I wonder how Jesus' friends felt. I wonder if you can imagine sitting on that beach with Jesus. I imagine Jesus and his friends sitting around the fire, talking, maybe laughing and joking. Don't know if they were telling any fish jokes. And I like the way Jesus asked Peter if he loves him. In my imagination, it doesn't happen all in one go, but in different times in the conversation. And maybe Jesus does it with a smile on his face. 3 times. 1 time for each of the times Peter pretended he didn't know Jesus. And I think Peter knew then that he was forgiven. I wonder how that made him feel. I don't know about you, but when I say sorry and feel forgiven, I feel like I have a chance to start again and try to do better. I'm going to say a prayer now, and I know some of you will join in thinking about the words I'm going to say, and I know others of you will be sitting quietly thinking about the things we've talked about. Let's pray together. Dear God, thank you for the story of Jesus meeting his friends. Please help each of us to be a friend to other people. And thank you that we can talk to you about anything. Please help us to say sorry when we upset or hurt others. And please help us to forgive when others upset or hurt us. Amen. Well, it's been lovely to be with you again today, and I'm looking forward to being with you again soon. But until then, goodbye.